Hello, so I'm with my friend Nikhil Rajan. He is a junior at UT Austin studying bio, and he's with us today doing the interview. Hello, Nikhil.
Hey, what's up?
So, Nikhil, do you consent to be recorded and the video to be used on a class project website for educational purposes?
Yeah.
Sounds good. Nikhil, why don't you tell us what you know about the Declaration of Independence and what it means to you, really?
So most of my knowledge about the Declaration of Independence comes from like high school classes or college classes. I just understand it as obviously America's declaration of like just getting away from Britain. I understand it's a lot about its grievances about the taxes and just inequality between the settlers and the people in Britain. So that's most of my knowledge. I remember in my American literature class, we talked about the multiple drafts of the Declaration of Independence, about the differences between them. What's interesting about it is that the first draft, I should say, is more about being more secluded, just like a little bit more tame. But as the drafts go on, they become more aggressive and just more like upfront about King George's inactions and stuff like that. Yeah, that's a lot of what I know about the Declaration of Independence.
Wonderful, yeah. So basically, just talk about like what for you just means that like the rebuttal of what the citizens at the moment were doing in correspondence to like how they were being treated from the Great Britain and how like unfair the treatment was. So
Yeah.
great to know. My next question for you is, what is the meaning of the phrase life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and what does it really mean to you, essentially?
Okay, so there's kind of two ways to approach that. Talking about what it meant to the actual settlers in this 18th century. So starting with that, it came from John Locke's, obviously, the life, liberty, and property, and it just adapted to become life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. At the time, to me, it seemed like they kind of focused on like the wealthy white man, generally speaking, and talking about how they have the freedom of life, the freedom of liberty, just the ability to do basically what they want within reason, and then finally with that opportunity, the pursuit of happiness. But currently, I kind of view it the same way. I think everyone has the freedom to their life, irrespective of their religion, race, stuff like that. And obviously, with that freedom of life comes the freedom of liberty. They have the freedom to exercise those freedoms. That's eventually written in the Constitution and the amendments. And then finally, with the equity of opportunity comes the pursuit of happiness. So kind of in the same way that they saw with pursuit of happiness, except it's more applicable to the rest of the entirety of the United States.
Sounds good. Yeah, I really like how you explain like the evolution of the meaning. Since it started off as one started off like pursuit of happiness, but it changed to like the wealth and like to gain to have a home, like kind of like about the American dream that people have in other parts of the world, like in the eastern side of the world, people dream like the American dream. So I really like that's a great meaning. And my final question for you today is, what are some personal stories you can share, like in relation to the Declaration of Independence, and in like life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness in correspondence with this?
I think with the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness being the pillar of the United States, that really changed my the way I grew up compared to the way my parents grew up. Definitely with that being the pillar of just political life and also eventually social life, it allowed my life to be a little bit more free compared to like my parents' life back in India. But just that exercise of opinion, exercise of just my behaviors in general. I think that's a little bit different. Obviously, they weren't restricted in India. They weren't oppressed with that in any way, but they were somewhat socially secluded compared to the United States. So whether you take that as a positive or a negative, that's up to your interpretation. But definitely changed my lifestyle.
Definitely, yeah. It definitely changing lifestyle is an important thing that you would notice in the Declaration. So kind of what it was trying to have like in the meaning. But yeah, wonderful. I really like your personal story. Thank you for sharing and thank you for your time today.
Okay, thanks.